Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1.
Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
Oh, it's Super Bowl overreaction Monday, one of my favorite days of the year, where we just get to take the narratives and blow them out of the water because it's Super Bowl. Everything has to be overhyped. That's the law. Welcome into another edition of the JP Peterson Show here on this Super Bowl Monday. So much to get to. The GOAT conversation is on, as if it's always been on, I guess, with Patrick Mahomes, but another chapter in his storied career already, 7 years in. Is he the best to ever do it? Nick Geddes and I will be debating that here in just a few minutes. And we'll have Brad Johnson, Super Bowl quarterback of your Tampa Bay Buccaneers, first time around. And he will join us at 10:30 to kind of break down the quarterback play. And we'll probably do a little reminiscing about his Super Bowl as well. So I say good morning to you, Nick Geddes from Mon3 Sports. How are you?
I am surprisingly holding up well after a long, long night of work covering this Super Bowl from home.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know.
What articles did you write? Did you have to write the Taylor Swift article?
I wrote many a Taylor Swift article, to be honest with you. First one of the night was about Taylor Swift, and I looked at Casey. I said, it's going to be a long night.
It's going to be a long
night.
So you were the official Taylor correspondent on On3? Is this how this works?
We all were kind of chipping in together,
okay.
But, you know, having Casey next to me on the couch, this was like the only game she watched all year, by the way. And she was helping me. I was asking her, I was like, can you tell me what the Eras tour, like, do I have to capitalize the in the Eras tour? Can you tell me how far away Tokyo is from Las Vegas? Can you tell me? She was actually helping me get the information. So thanks for the assist. But yes, great football game. Sad that it's over. I put the Rays hat on this morning because we're officially, at least I'm officially turning my attention to baseball. Sad that football is over, but it was a hell of a way to go out. And you might be onto something about these damn WWE scripts, JP.
Like I'm saying, right? I mean, this is very scripted. Even Joe Biden put out a tweet right after the game, just like we planned. Or what did he say? Some stupid thing. Just like we drew it up with the red laser eyes. That was nice. So yeah, just like it was scripted to be. The comeback story of Patrick Mahomes. By the way, as Brad Johnson just tweeted me a frozen picture of Corn Dog, the game-winning play right before Mahomes releases the ball, the two offensive linemen at the goal line.
Corn Dog with a little mustard and a little ketchup on the side.
Does that mean two offensive linemen illegally downfield? Is that how Corn Dog works? I guess so. Think they're going to call that flag? I think that flag's coming out. Hell to the no.
I mean,
hell to the no.
They could have gotten a penalty on the Juwan Jennings trick play. I'm just saying.
There was another. Yeah, there was a few downfield on that one, and I think Donovan Smith is still holding Bosa at this point. There was a couple of bear hugs that were that were legendary.
That's his best.
Some of his best work I've ever seen. I mean, that dude, he literally took both hands and hugged Bosa and took him to the ground. Literally hugged him and took him to the ground. And I mean, both hands outside the shoulder pads, like nothing inside, just literally tackled him from above. No flag. But hey, let's give credit to Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes. Look, this is one of the simplest things I think I saw on the pregame show watching Kurt Warner, and somebody asked him, like, what's so different about Patrick Mahomes? And he said, third down, red zone. And at the third down, red zone, end of games. This is how you win in the NFL. Look at every one of his Super Bowl wins, all comebacks, double-digit comebacks. The guy at the end of the game is as good as it gets. Brady was the best. That's why he won so many championships. End of games, folks. This is the guys that can operate at the end of games the way these two do. And I mean, to just watch, like Joe Montana, the old John Candy thing, right? And It's 84 yards from a victory, and he's looking up in the stands saying, "Hey, that's Sean Candy." These guys, their heartbeat just slows down while everybody else is, it's up in their throats. They're just like, yeah, just another drive here on a Sunday in November. No big deal. Let's put it in the end zone. And that final drive, Nick, if you go back and look at that final drive, I don't think there was not one tight window throw. There was not one ball really down the field. I think the longest ball he threw down the field was the 3rd and 6 to Rashee Rice.
Yep.
The little inside crosser. But that wasn't a dangerous throw at all. That was against man-to-man. The man was trailing him by 4 yards. It was an easy throw. He just made it look so freaking easy. And on the 4th and 1, easy call. He gets a chunk. He gets 9 yards. It's not even 1, and he doesn't even get tackled. I mean, he just has such a feel for the game. And then the 3rd and 1, he runs up the middle. And it's almost like he was always going to run. He anticipated that zone defense and then ran away from Fred Warner for 60 or 19 yards. Chunk plays, man, with his legs. And if you go back and look at Patrick Mahomes, all of his comebacks, huge chunks of yardage with his legs, just creating. And that's the thing. When you can play from the pocket, like obviously Mahomes can, you can push the ball down the field with great accuracy. Obviously he can. You can run the way he runs. I think I heard his trainer said his times now in terms of his shuttle runs are faster than they've ever been. He looked spry yesterday. And there's so many things that this guy can do. And in his first 7 years, he's in Michael Jordan territory. 3 championships, 3 Super Bowl MVPs, 2 league MVPs, 6 AFC championship games. Every year he started, he's gone to the AFC championship game. Nobody, including Michael Jordan, has done that in their careers in sports. It's insane. And, we're projecting here. Obviously, longevity is going to tell the story. Will he be able to stay healthy? Will he have a career-ending injury? Nobody knows these things. But if he plays another 10 years, which there's no reason he shouldn't, 10 to 12 years, how do you beat the guy? It's take away Tyreek Hill, doesn't matter. Give him a bunch of scrub receivers, doesn't matter. Sorry, MVS. When I say scrub, there's no dominant receiver out there, not even close. It's probably a lot of B's and C's. There's no A receiver out there for him except Kelsey, obviously. And this defense. Let's tip the cap to this Spagnuolo defense. All right. They averaged giving up 16 points a game in the postseason. 16 points a game. You're going to win a lot of football games giving up 16 points a game. And you got Pat Mahomes as your quarterback.
And look
you're
at
making it easy.
Look at the offenses they faced. Miami's offense.
Yes.
They faced Buffalo's offense. They faced Baltimore's offense and then San Francisco's. And they had all of those offenses and all those geniuses. Mike McDaniel, Todd Monken, Joe Brady, and then eventually Kyle Shanahan had them all in hell at one point during the game.
Yeah.
I know Mahomes is going to be the headline. He won the MVP, and obviously so. Mahomes, and I always talk about this, when it gets to nut cutting time, what do you got? Mm-hmm. And there is nobody else in today's football, in this generation, that even comes close to Patrick Mahomes. He is incredible. I don't even know the right word. If incredible's good enough, if great's good enough, I don't know the word anymore.
Greatest of all time?
I'm not, pump the brakes a little bit there, okay? But I'll just say this. When we talk about the greatest quarterbacks of all time, I think it's pretty set and clear. It starts with Brady, it starts with Mahomes, and it starts with Joe Montana. That's it. There's nobody else in the stratosphere of those 3 guys, as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to talent and accomplishments. But back to the defense, though, because I felt like they were the story, not of just this game, but this Chiefs team. And that's what makes this Super Bowl so special and so amazing for Kansas City, is their identity shifted so hard this year that it became about the defense and Steve Spagnuolo. Yeah. And you talk about continuity all the time in this league. He's been there since 2019. And I haven't seen any teams with head coaching openings in the last 5 cycles say, "Hey, I want to interview Steve Spagnuolo." They don't do it. So Kansas City is able to keep this guy on board. So what ends up happening is you got the best quarterback in the game by a mile. You got the best head coach in the game by a mile, and you got the best defensive coordinator in the league as well. And some pretty damn good young players on that side of the ball as well. And then Kelsey, you throw all that in. Should we be surprised at what Kansas City is doing? I mean, in the run this year, Miami, Buffalo, Baltimore, San Francisco, it's got to be one of the toughest routes to the Super Bowl victory
on the
we've
road
ever seen in the entire league. We talk about what the Bucs did in 2020. This is right up there with that.
Yeah. I mean, they got Miami at home, which was, at 0-degree weather. Let's just admit that was fortuitous. Not that, would Kansas City have won in Miami? Maybe. Probably. I think they would have won anywhere they played. Just Kansas City became too good of a football team at the end of the year. Now, there were some assists. Here to Kansas City. And I'll start at the top of the list, and that's Shanahan. He was awful. Again, in a big game, he was awful. You cannot underscore enough how stupid that call in overtime was. You cannot make that call. That is tantamount to Cristobal not taking a knee. It's a new overtime rules. There were 49ers players that said they didn't know the overtime rules. You know what Pat Mahomes said? We go over the playoff overtime rules every week. Not every week in the postseason, every week. They go over what? Yes. In the regular season, they go over the overtime playoff rules every week.
Yeah.
This is the difference in detail of what wins championship games. And I heard Shanahan after the game say, well, we ran this through our analytics, right? Here we go. We ran this through our analytics, and we thought that the advantage was getting the ball the third time. Okay. Let's break that down. What do we always say about analytics, Nick? It doesn't take into account the momentum of the game, how tired your defense is, how tired your offense is, what's happening in terms of the matchups in the game. Greenlaw's out, which was a huge blow to the 49ers defense. When Greenlaw went out, I was like, that's the game. Reed is going to take advantage of that. And in that final half, they did a lot of things that attacked that linebacker position in terms of run pass options, key third down runs, et cetera, et cetera. So that was huge, and that's great coaching. He went right after it. But that said, you cannot make that mistake in overtime. I mean, did you really think that Patrick Mahomes with 4 downs, because that's what you're giving him now, 4 downs, that's the difference in taking the ball or giving it to the other team.
Yeah.
Give 4 downs to the entire Greenlaw's out of the game. Your defense is tired. You think you're going to stop Patrick Mahomes from getting in the end zone or a field goal, but probably getting in the end zone is what you're looking at to win the game.
Yeah.
With your defense, the way it was playing late in the game. Of course not. Of course not.
When I watched it, though, I thought he made the decision because his defense looked like they were gassed. And so he was trying to give them some extra time for the second possession. So that's how I had viewed that before Shanahan made his comment. But again, situation of the game, who you're playing, the matchup, rule of thumb, do not give Patrick Mahomes the last possession potentially in a football game. Yes. Do not do it. And the other thing, and this is where San Francisco lost the game, special teams. Yes. Special teams was horrific. Huge. The Chiefs' offense, how I kind of had said that Spagnuolo had the Chiefs or had the 49ers offense in hell. The same could be said about what Steve Wilkes and what the 49ers were doing to the Chiefs early in that game. But that miscue, I forget who it hit off of, and McLeod obviously had to dive for the ball, and the Chiefs got it. And the next play they score, that's when the Chiefs' offense came to life. You gave them a lifeline right there. So special teams was not buttoned up.
And that's an unfortunate play. It's not like the Chiefs forced that turnover.
No, it's an unfortunate play, it was a big story of the game. It was the biggest,
in my mind, the biggest play of the game.
Right.
That was the biggest play of the game because the Chiefs at that point had not moved the football. Right. They had not come close to scoring a touchdown at that point. And, Ray, we love Ray from Sickles High School. It's an unfortunate play first and foremost. The ball comes down and hits a guy in the leg.
Yeah.
Ray then tries to recover it, which is what he should be doing. The ball was right there for him. I know in that situation, it's hard to grab onto that damn thing because it's not round, right? It's tough. But, man, you had that. That was such a huge play. You had that ball in your hands. You got to come up with it, man. You just there's certain plays in the game. I mean, I'm not laying the loss on Ray McLeod. That's not what I'm doing. But I think Ray would tell you right now he's going to have nightmares about that. That ball was in his hands.
Yeah, and it wasn't just the special teams. It was penalties at the worst times on offense, whether it's false starts, holding penalties. I mean, how many times did San Francisco make a big play and then all of a sudden it's a penalty and now they're backed up at 2nd and 12?
And that's huge.
It's
against that Chiefs defense, you can't get behind it. You just can't.
Those add up, and so that killed San Francisco. But, yeah, the coaching thing was a big part of this game. What you saw is Kyle Shanahan and Steve Wilkes were the B team.
Yep,
and
absolutely.
Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo, they're the A team. Mm-hmm. And you're fighting in different weight classes at that point. And Kyle Shanahan, man, I think Kyle Shanahan's a really good coach in this league. You don't get to 2 Super Bowls by not being a good coach.
Very good coach.
And he was the offensive coordinator for another one, and 28-3. It's just your reputation is your reputation, and his reputation is he has been to 3 Super Bowls, 2 as a head coach, 1 as an offensive coordinator. He's had 3 double-digit leads,
meltdowns.
3 of them in Super Bowls, and he has not been able to close. And I don't think he called a great game. I do not think in the second quarter, or the third quarter rather, the third quarter was horrendous for San Francisco. Horrendous. Yep. Oh, I think Shanahan got schooled in this one thoroughly.
I do too. I think he got schooled. I think on every key down, Spagnuolo's pressures seemed to get to Purdy, and we'll get to Purdy in a second here. But I thought not only was the overtime. I mean, that's a college call, right? It's because this NFL overtime is now college. Okay. And by the way, the NFL did not do a very good job of explaining the rules either. Okay. Nobody knew. I don't think anybody knew as the time was winding down in the first quarter or in overtime. Like, is this going to be the end of the game? Like, what happens if the time runs out? No, you just go to another quarter. So why do we even have a clock? Like, I don't get it. Like, why do we have an overtime clock? Is it when the clock runs out, the game is over, and who has the most points? Is it sudden death after the first 2 possessions? Like, they never even said those words. So I can understand why the players were. I mean, 95% of America had no freaking idea what I saw Maurice Jones-Drew asking Andy Reid after the game, man, why didn't you call timeout at the end of overtime? You're scored with 9 seconds left. I'm like, well, because he didn't need to call timeout. The clock was just going to roll over to another overtime. But nobody knew that, right, for the most part.
Oh, I think they explained it right before overtime, though, for everybody. And I think they put a graphic. I mean, at the end of the day, though, the Chiefs knew what was going on. It's still your job.
I don't think the 49ers did, though. I swear to God. Half the players said they didn't know the rules.
And that's a big indictment on your team.
Yes, exactly. That's my point about Shanahan is, he can say analytics all he wants. That's why the third possession is what you're worried about. What about the first 2 possessions? You're not going to stop. You can't give – the key is the 4 downs because look what you did. You got them to 4th and 1. If they had the ball first, they would have had a punt with scoring no points. They would not have gone for it 4th and 1 at their own, 35, 38-yard line? There's no way he's going for it there. So they would have had to punt. Your defense actually did its job, but your stupid head coach took the ball instead of giving it to the Chiefs. Come on. And by the way, I know that the defense was a little tired, but between the end of the game and the start of overtime, especially with all the commercial breaks, they probably had 7 to 10 minutes of real time to rest and get ready to play. So it wasn't like they were going right back out on the field. So I still think that's it. That's a humongous mistake. And you can't do that.
Yeah, and I'm recalling everything else that I saw from Shanahan that was kind of his fault, even before halftime. And it was a Todd Bowles special, man.
Yes,
it was a Todd Bowles special. Just not calling timeouts and just being content. I mean, listen, that was a big problem too. The 49ers in the first half of the game were controlling the tempo of the game. They clearly were the better team, and they only walked out with a 7-point lead.
Yep.
I mean, right then and there, we should have been like, listen, you're not going to keep 15 down.
No.
And at that point, Kelsey had 1 catch for a yard. You're not going to keep him down for that long. And knowing the fact that Spagnuolo's defense usually rises up in the second half in these games, you're not going to keep that Chiefs defense down either. But how many times did they have to settle for field goals? I mean, that's a big deal. And even in overtime, San Francisco goes down the field and orchestrates this nice, 7-minute drive?
Beautiful.
Where a lot of it was McCaffrey and they were eating away and all that kind of stuff. And then they get down to the red zone and you settle for a field goal. And guess what? The best quarterback in his generation goes right down the field and gets a touchdown. I mean, there's levels to this.
That's another bad call. 4th and 4 from the 9-yard line. All right. I know that's not where you want to go. Right. I mean, that's a tough 4th and 4 in a compressed area. It's not ideal, but you got to go for it there. If you take the ball, you have to commit to using all 4 of your downs. Understand? Right? If you take the ball, you have to say, I'm going to use all 4 of my downs to get down the field, especially after the 50-yard line. At that point, it's touchdown or bust.
But let's also give a shout out to who I thought was the real MVP of this football game. And it happened on that, and you saw his impact on that 3rd down, and you also saw his impact earlier in the game. Remember Purdy? He had Deebo Samuel in the end zone on the right side.
Yep.
And guess who came screaming in his face to affect the throw? Chris Jones. Who came screaming in his face on that 3rd down in overtime? Ayuk's running wide open in the back of the end zone, but he couldn't even look his way. Guess who was barreling down on him?
Chris Jones, unblocked.
Chris Jones was the MVP of that football game because he directly affected what would have been 2 touchdowns for the 49ers in that football game. Great players, man. Great players right there.
Oh, yeah. But again, if you're Shanahan, you gotta terrible call in overtime. You got to go for it on 4th down. And then your play calling in the second half was uninspiring at best. And so which brings me to Brock Purdy. I thought Purdy played pretty well. He played, especially early on. I thought he played the throw to Conley was a virtuoso. The Colt throw to Juwan Johnson for the touchdown, that was a phenomenal throw. Or not Johnson.
Juwan Jennings.
That was a great throw. I thought he had so many great moments.
The play to Juszczyk was his best moment, I thought.
Yeah, what a throw, what a catch by Juszczyk, what a stretch. I'm so glad they didn't, review that. Yeah, I would have lost my mind. I'm so glad they didn't review that. But I thought so. But did he make the plays that can he make a play on that 3rd and 4 where he gets rushed by Chris Jones? I mean, what do you expect the guy to do? What's he going to do on that play?
I thought Brock
throws
Purdy,
it away.
I thought Brock Purdy handled the moment well. Anybody that thought he was going to be overwhelmed, he's so mature back there. He seems unfazed. I thought he handled the moment well. I thought he played good. In some respects, you could say he played good enough to win the football game, but not against 15 on the other side.
Right.
And listen, that's okay. You don't have to tear, and maybe this is me biased talking because I've been defending Brock Purdy all year long. You don't have to come up here with the take and say, see, Brock Purdy's not that guy. Listen, there's nobody else in the NFL that's active right now that has beaten this guy in the postseason other than Joe Burrow.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That has beat Patrick Mahomes, and Brady did it as well, but he's no longer active. There's no shame in Brock Purdy not playing as good as Patrick Mahomes. And at the end of the day, he made enough plays for them to go down the field there in the 4th quarter. And, of course, you would have loved to get a touchdown, but they got the field goal. He made enough plays on that drive. And then it's like, hey, can we try to make a stop with 1:53? He's not the one who let Travis Kelce run wide open with 20 seconds left to get them down there in the first place to make it a chip shot field goal. Brock Purdy didn't do that.
Right.
Okay. There's no shame in the way Brock Purdy played yesterday. There's nothing you need to nitpick about it. Brock Purdy played a good football game. The problem is you're facing a dynasty, and you end up needing a special performance to get it done. And Brock Purdy did not give that to you. I don't think the play calling lended itself for him to have a special game as well. I think there's 2 parts of this.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just have to tip your cap to the other team.
Yep.
And the other team is what is forming the second greatest dynasty or whatever that we've ever seen in the NFL.
Yeah. Now I can look at Lamar Jackson's performance and say he was awful. He missed a lot of open guys, did not meet the moment, did not play the way we expected him to play, did not use his legs and dominate the game. that was a terrible performance by Lamar Jackson. I wanted more. I can't say that about Purdy. I can't say he missed a lot of open guys. I can't say he didn't make enough plays. I can't say that.
The ones that he missed was when he was affected by Chris Jones in his face, and you're asking him to make like elite of the elite level throw there in those situations.
No, I thought he played well. He wasn't the reason they lost. I would say if I'm ranking how this game was won and lost, I'm saying number one, Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes at the end of the game, regulation, in overtime, just doesn't make mistakes, makes every critical key play. The ball is always in his hands. He's just phenomenal. That's it. Second, I would say Spagnuolo. As a defense, the Chiefs' defense was fabulous when it needed to be. It doesn't make mistakes. It's aggressive. Against the great play caller by Kyle Shanahan, it limited them tremendously. I didn't see a lot of guys running wide open like I normally do.
George Kittle was invisible. George Kittle was a non-factor in the entire football game.
Took him right out of the game.
They took his safety blanket right out of the game, and I know Debo and Ayuk had their moments here and there, but for the most part, they were blanketed. I mean, this kid tripped McDuffie, man.
Yeah.
Holy hell.
McDuffie and Snead are freaking awesome.
One of the best cornerback duos I've seen ever.
And this is what the Bucs were trying to do. Pay two really good corners, big money, and be able to play that kind of defense. Except our corners aren't nearly as good as their corners, and that's the problem. The McDuffie saves a touchdown on a great throw by Purdy. I think Debo Samuel, if McDuffie doesn't stretch out and hit that ball, I think Debo catches that deep ball for a touchdown, and it's a totally different game. That was a game-saving play. So, yes, Spagnuolo and the Chiefs defense are number two. I would say number three would be the unfortunate bounce on the punt. That punt play, that fumble that led to a touchdown on the very next play changed the entire complexion of the game. So I would say that is number three, a little bit of bad luck against the 49ers right there, and Ray not being able to fall on that ball. And then I would say Shanahan's call in overtime. 3 and 4 are kind of iffy for me, but I would say those are the top 3-4 things that won and lost that game. But would you agree?
Yeah, I would absolutely agree. There was many reasons why San Francisco did not win this football game. It's hard to pinpoint one, like you said. There were so many things that happened. I guess it's a little unfortunate because, again, you still had control of that game for a majority of it.
Yeah.
But again, and I think someone commented here, I think it was James, if you want to beat Mahomes, you better score more than 19.
Damn right.
And that is true. I don't know if you mentioned it there, but just settling for field goals.
Yeah.
You're not getting points. I mean, you're just asking for it at that point. You just are.
Yeah, and sometimes you got to go for it. Fourth down, couple of good calls on fourth down for was it Shanahan that went for it on 4th and 3?
Yeah, he went for it on 4th and 3 around like the 20-yard line, and Purdy got it to Kittle, stretched, and then the next play he throws a slant to Juwan Jennings for the touchdown. That was a big moment in that game for them.
That was a huge call there, and you got to be aggressive. You got to stay aggressive in that mindset. And look what happened. Look how they were rewarded on that one.
And I didn't even
mention the double pass was a ballsy call too.
And I almost didn't mention it. This is the crazy part too. It's so many things happen. I forgot about this. When San Francisco got that touchdown to make it 16-13, Jake Moody hits one low.
Yeah.
And it gets blocked at the line.
Oh my God, yeah.
I mean, Jake Moody was simultaneously the reason why the 49ers had the lead with just under 2 minutes left to go with a chance to hold and win the Super Bowl.
That was a huge kick.
And he was simultaneously the reason why they were not celebrating when the clock hit 0 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
That is brutal.
I mean, it changes the way the Chiefs play. So they settle for a field goal there? Clearly not. They would have had to score a touchdown, but it makes it a much, much more difficult task. So yeah, huge miss right there. All right, those are our thoughts. Brad Johnson, Super Bowl champion for your Tampa Bay Buccaneers 2002, is going to join us. I told him we want to talk a little bit about the quarterbacks and do a little reminiscing on his Super Bowl as well, so that'll be fun. We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. We had Scott Jeeves on last week talking about the FSU contract situation, lawsuit situation. It was really, really good, very informative. You can chat with him as well. Just go ahead and give them a call. Go to jeeveslawgroup.com. Contact them through the website. Get your free case evaluation. So whatever your thoughts are, if you think you have a case against your employer, an insurance company, whatever, just give them a call and chat it up. It's free. Free case evaluation. Find out if you have a case. It's the JeevesLawGroup.com. Back in 3 with Brad Johnson. Stay with us. JP here from my friends at your local Synovus Bank, and I do mean friends, and I do mean local. One of the local managers in Tampa is John Acosta, big fan of the show, and I've known him for over 40 years. He's been in local banking since 1983. You talk about developing relationships. You don't stick around for that long unless you're doing things the right way and have a great reputation, and that's the focus company-wide at Synovus. Big enough to handle any complex international transaction, but small enough to answer the phone when you have an urgent question about your business or personal account. And for personal accounts, they have a very easy app that works great. You can do everything online. And for large or small businesses, you will get that personal touch and services to help build your business, taking your dreams and aspirations from the whiteboard to reality. We can make that happen. Let us show you how. For a get-acquainted meeting to open a business or personal account, just call John or go to Synovus.com to find out where your local branch is. All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on True Body and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. JP here for the Geddes Gordon Real Estate Group and our good friend Jane Geddes. Folks, simply put, there is nobody like Jane. Jane is a former LPGA two-time major championship winner. She was also vice president of talent relations at WWE. She also has a law degree from Stetson, so if Jane can drain a 10-footer to win the U.S. Open and stare down Hulk Hogan in the boardroom, you want Jane on your real estate team to not only negotiate the best deal, but find you the perfect home or investment property. And when you work with the Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of the real estate family and get concierge services that include expertly staging, marketing, and preparing your home for sale. Advice on golf properties. Hey, you might even get some golf tips. Many of their clients become friends long after the sale or purchase is completed. It's all part of the deal. So if you're looking for that perfect home or investment property or trying to get top dollar for your home, go with Jane Geddes and the Geddes Gordon Group because there's nobody like Jane. Call 813-485-6808 or go to GeddesGordon.kw.com. That's GEDDES Gordon.kw.com. or call 813-485-6808.
Let's go! Right now. Back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. I think we got our wires crossed with Brad. So you want to go ahead and give him a call there? Nick, we'll just do it on the air. He knows we're calling. The great Brad Johnson, who of course, led the Buccaneers to their first Super Bowl win, 48-21 in Super Bowl 37 in beautiful San Diego, Qualcomm Stadium. That was quite the scene. And, there was, we start looking back on some of the great Super Bowls. That was certainly not one of them in terms of drama. The Bucs won that one wire to wire. Their defense was absolutely smothering, much like the Chiefs' defense was. Against a really, really good offensive football team in the Raiders, who were the number one offense. I think every time we've had a Super Bowl matchup of the number one offense against the number one defense, the number one defense has won, and convincingly, usually. And you looked at this Chiefs defense, they came in as the number two defense in all of football. So, that old adage that defense wins championships is certainly 100% true. And even though you give all the accolades and the flowers to Patrick Mahomes and that offense, which by the way is with Kelsey, yes, but other than that, very pedestrian. Pacheco, a 7th-round pick. Again, the wide receivers, nothing to certainly write home about. And Patrick Mahomes just orchestrating this like the absolute dog that he is on so many levels. So, are you able to raise him there?
Yeah, he's on right now. So,
Brad, are you there?
You got me?
What's up, partner? How are you, Bull?
All right, JP. How you doing, brother?
I'm not doing as good as you, man. I'm sitting there turning on my, I work out, I got a little bit of muscle here, and I'm watching your ass get on the bench and do 20 reps of 225 on Super Bowl Sunday. Come on, man. Making us all look bad. What are you doing? What are you doing?
JP, every year, all the players, coaches, and stuff, we always send each other texts or phone calls or something. Just say, man, you're just kind of live down memory lane a little bit. And I said, I'm going to see if I can bench press. I haven't done this in a while. So 55 years old, I had my son Jake spot me, and see if I can get a couple. And then I just let's go for it. So
you were insane.
So had a little fun with it. And had a little fun with that one yesterday. So.
20 reps. That's more than a lot of offensive linemen coming out in the draft, bro. What are you doing? What are you doing? You're 55 years old.
Maybe I should have been a left tackle or something. I was playing the wrong position. So.
Maybe. All right. So let's before we talk about your Super Bowl, which I always love going back and reminiscing. Before we talk about that, let's talk about this one we just witnessed, and let's get you breaking down the quarterback play. We'll start with the winner, and Pat Mahomes. And I wish I was watching the game with Brad right now as we're watching Mahomes go down the field at the end of regulation and overtime. What are you watching? What are you appreciating about what he did?
Well, first half was sluggish.
Yeah.
They just didn't get first down. They didn't get enough plays. They didn't get enough passes. They just nothing was happening. They barely scored they scored right at the end of the half, nothing was happening. But you just know at some point fireworks are going to happen. And that's what happens. They've been down, in all his Super Bowls, it seemed like they're down. And here he comes from behind again. And then Kelsey, he doesn't have any catches, and then he has a little spout over there with Andy Reid. It's like a spark hit the whole team.
Yeah.
And, it really started with the muff punt.
Yep.
That was the changing point for me for the whole game. That gave them red zone possession to come down. They throw a vertical down there. He scores a touchdown, and then he catches lightning in a bottle. He goes 34-46 for 330 yards, and you put the ball in. Yeah, it was really great for Purdy. I mean, I know we're going to talk about Purdy, but Purdy led 2 game-winning drives also.
Yeah.
But then Mahomes matched it.
Yep.
And then he got the ball last, and that's what greatness does. And great moments, that's what greatness does. And the whole world's watching, just knowing he's gonna make it happen. And here he goes, he's gonna win his 3rd Super Bowl. It's really phenomenal. I think the Netflix was really fun to watch because you got to see some of his personality, his work ethic, and just his ability. I think he's probably, obviously we're hyping him up, but he's probably the most dynamic quarterback I've ever seen. The only other guy I've ever marveled at throwing a ball was really Aaron Rodgers. But Mahomes has a different arm, whether it's arm slots, arm ability, but just the ability to get up for great moments and to lead his team and play in all kind of weather games. In Kansas City, he played in the rain, played in the snow. This year, he finally got to play on the road in Buffalo and Baltimore and all the above. He's just a gamer, and it brings out the greatness of that whole team. So just love watching him compete, not alone the way he plays the game. And honestly, JP, the two plays to kind of get away from is sort of the 4th and 1 on the drive right there at the end of in the 4th quarter. He pulled the ball twice on a QB,
keeper,
an RPO kind of play. Yeah, RPO. Yeah, he had big play early in the game, like a 15-yard run down on the 4th and 1. That was a huge play with the opportunity to throw to Kelsey in the flat or keep it and convert the 4th and 1. Those are big plays, and to be able to use his legs in those moments, it's fun.
Yeah, the 2 runs were huge, and if you go back and look at his career, running the ball has been such a huge part of his game. I don't think we talk about it enough. Because he does it, he only does it at the most opportune time. That last drive, Brad, I can't remember one stick throw that he had to make. He just took everything they gave him. Never, there was a couple times they put some bait out there, and he almost threw a deep ball to the corner, but he brought it back down, checked it down, got his 7 yards, and and that's how hard is it as a quarterback to do that, to stay patient and just say, I don't need to be the hero here. I think the longest pass he threw was maybe that 3rd and 6 to Rashee Rice, the crosser over the middle, and that wasn't that far of a throw. He just took what they gave him, right?
He did. He led Kansas City in rushing last night. 9 carries for 66 yards. Yeah. The hidden yards that we're not talking about. And then, you think about Tom Brady's first Super Bowl he won against the Rams. 2-minute situation. Like, what great throw did Tom make? Like, what great throw? He really, he threw a little drag route, threw a swing route, threw a check down. And all of a sudden, Vinatieri's kicking a game-winning field goal. Yeah. Same thing we're talking about last night with Mahomes. Everybody wants this great big play. Like, well, the great big play is it's a great special drive. And those are just making great decisions, accuracy of the ball, completing on 3rd down, completing the 4th down, and just, making the right play and then letting the players play for you. And that's what he does. And he doesn't miss when those guys are open. Mm-hmm. That's the difference. And but he just makes, make the right read, make the right throw, and then make the next play.
Brad, do you think it's maybe premature at this point in his career? He's only 6 years in because there's a lot of people that are calling him the greatest of all time, and they're already saying it after happened last night. Do you think that is a premature statement, or would you say that right now, even after just 6 years?
Well, I think he's the most dynamic. He's played 6 years and six or 7 years, been to 6 AFC championship games, and now he's in his 4th Super Bowl. He's won 3 and lost 1. Mm-hmm. 6 AFC championship games. But then Tom Brady, he went to 14 AFC championships. He won 7. He lost 3. Tom threw for 89,000 yards. Mahomes is at 29,000 yards. Mahomes has 280 touchdowns. Well, Tom Brady has 650 touchdowns. Like, don't mistake. Don't top somebody that's the greatest of all time yet. I love watching greatness, but to watch Brady do it for 23 years, Mahomes is in his 6th year, and I love watching him play. He's the most dynamic quarterback that I've seen do it, because of all his levels of doing it. And he's only had success every single year. So that's the fun part about it.
Brad Johnson joining us here. So if I put a gun to your head, would you say by the time Patrick Mahomes is finished, he'll have 7 or more? Will he have more than Brady?
And the fun thing about it, the 2 times they played in the playoffs, Brady won.
That's right.
In the playoffs. He beat him in the championship game, and then he beat him in the
Super Bowl.
I think it's the championship, and they've been in the Super Bowl. So, but there's always respect between those guys, and it gives us just, something to talk about on the radio and coffee shops and all the above. But I both those guys are lethal, and those cities that have had them, they're fortunate to have received a lot of Super Bowls, a lot of wins, a lot of great memories.
We'll see a lot more of them, that's for sure. So Brock Purdy, 23 of 38, 255 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, threw 1 ball probably that should have been intercepted by McDuffie, but Deebo Samuel made a great play on that. Your thoughts on his overall night? I thought he played really well. I don't remember any terrible mistakes that I thought he made or any terrible misses. What are your thoughts on how he played?
Played winning football. He gave them a chance to win. They had the fumble early in the game with McCaffrey going down there, had a chance to score on that one. They had the muff punt. All the other possessions, he led them to 2 game-winning drives. Mm-hmm. And then what the thing we're not talking about too is really the extra point that was missed.
Oh, huge.
Like, that was a 4-point swing where Mahomes can't kick the field goal to tie it at the end of the game. Like, they would have had to go for it. So I thought Purdy played great. He's handled the pressure the last 2 years of being the starter. And he played good enough to win last night. Just one team's going to celebrate, and they had the ball last. That was the only difference to me. So otherwise, if last night would have won, Purdy would have won, 49ers would have won, we've been celebrating Purdy today. So that's the greatness of both of them. They both play winning football, but only one guy gets to celebrate.
And he gets that game manager tag obviously put on him a lot. And I'm just curious, as somebody who played the position, won a Super Bowl, why do you think it is that term game manager becomes it has such a negative like connotation behind it? Like we think less of these guys who are quote unquote game managers because, and you could speak to this obviously, like, is it the idea to play within the structure of the offense and I guess quote unquote manage the game, like you said, to play winning football?
100%. It's one of the greatest compliments you could ever be given. A baseball pitcher, you better get ahead in the count.
Yeah.
Better get ahead in the count, Greg Maddux, Hall of Famer. You better hit those first serves in, Roger Federer. You better hit that Nadal. You better hit that ball in the fairway, Tiger Woods. You better, you know what I mean? And football, you better not turn that ball over. You better not turn it over at a fast rate. You better make great decisions. You got to get ahead in the count, be high completion on first down, get those third down conversions. Sometimes you don't score touchdowns in the red zone. Sometimes you do kick field goals, but you play winning football. And over a consistent period of time, it does. And then there's some exceptional players that can make some more throws, some more talented throws than others that cannot. But as a whole, the guys that Peyton Manning, game manager, Tom Brady, game manager, and then they can do it over a consistent period of time, greatness. And so I think Mahomes, he's great. He's a great game manager. He doesn't really turn the ball over. And then he can make exceptional plays at exceptional times. So I want a great decision maker, and I do want a great game manager at quarterback. I want to know what he's going to do with that ball, with the audibles, with the checks, the consistency at the line of scrimmage, and all the above. And that goes for every quarterback from high school, college, and pros. Lamar Jackson, he's a great game manager of that ball. Doesn't turn the ball over at a high rate and makes great decisions and then scores when he has to with some dynamic plays.
Brad Johnson joining us here, Super Bowl winning quarterback. I thought Kyle Shanahan's decision in overtime to take the ball was absolutely horrendous. You cannot make that decision in that spot. The new rules, you're giving Patrick Mahomes 4 downs. He will go the length of the field every single time, especially against a tired defense. I thought that was inexcusable. And then if you take the ball, if it's 4th and 4, I know that's a tough conversion, especially from the 9-yard line. You got to go for it. You cannot give the ball. You cannot give Patrick Mahomes 4 downs starting at the 25-yard line, essentially, and to beat you. I thought that was a really, really poor decision. What did you think?
That's the talk of today. But what's interesting is the rules of it, JP. So there were different rules back in the day. Open kickoff, take it, score, game's over. Then the owners got in this room and they made their own decisions of how the playoffs are going to change when Buffalo and Kansas City did it. 4 or 5 years ago, they said, all right, these are the rules now. And then we just made a new set of rules. What are the rules? And that's what's kind of coming out today. Whether one team knew about it more than the other, or we talking about the third possession to potentially get it back if it's a game winning, if both teams kick a field goal or touchdown or whatever it may be, 49ers get it. So I'm more confused on why the rules are different from playoffs from the regular season. And you are having to learn different rules and go over it, and maybe they didn't, but let's keep it consistent. If we have to go back to college, go back to the college playoffs and do it that way for the playoffs, the way the college teams. I don't know. It's really interesting what really took place and what even Nico Hardman last night, he didn't know the rules when he first caught the touchdown pass. He didn't know either. he didn't know either. They had to tell him real quick, and then they celebrated the win. So a lot was going on there with a lot of people. So
wow,
unfortunately, it took place. Yep.
How do you not know that? Like Pat Mahomes said afterwards that they talked about these rules every week, not just in the postseason, but he said we went over in meetings every week postseason rules for play. I'm like, why would you even talk about that? Because that's how detailed he is. I'm like, what?
JB, some guys sleep in those meetings too now. So,
well, that's what he said. I thought it was so boring. We were going over this every freaking week. He goes, now I know why we were doing it, because at least our team knew what the rules were.
Yeah, everybody doesn't have a briefcase in that room, so it's
that's for
you
damn
never
sure.
know.
Yeah,
Man.
they were probably told, but probably don't remember. All right, so let's go fast forward before we do a little reminiscent on our Super Bowl. Baker Mayfield. Let me get your take on Bake. Whether the Bucs should be bringing him back. I think they should bring back Evans, bring back Baker, bring back the whole crew. You have a nice identity now. Got some nice continuity going with the offensive coordinator who knows Bake and has worked with him. I think this is where the Bucs are going and where they should be going. You agree?
Yeah, I hope it happens. I really do. They both gambled on each other last year with a 1-year deal.
Mm-hmm.
They took a chance on Baker with being a veteran player to some degree at 5 years of playing, and then Baker took a chance on 1-year deal, and I can prove my worth. And they making the playoffs is really hard to do. They came together, especially first year in one system, and obviously his connection. He loves Tampa. There's great connection in the locker room with all the above, and it'll probably come down to what are the numbers. How long is it, and what are the actual numbers? And but he seemed like people down there love him. The players love him, and he can lead a team and get in the playoffs, and hopefully he's that guy to take it even further, which he has that potential. So hopefully it works out, JP. Pulling for him.
Yeah. All right. Well, my co-host here, Nick Geddes, was just a little tyke when you led his Buccaneers to the first Super Bowl championship. So you're one of his great heroes. And as I reminisce on that, I was watching some of the highlights, and that throw you made to McCardell on the back shoulder was unbelievable. The defense was unbelievable. What were your remembrances of that game in San Diego?
I remember it's just a slow start. Like, it's hard to get in rhythm. Like when you come out for warm-ups, there's a 20, 25-minute wait for when you come out and they sing the national anthem and all that kind of stuff. And just the first quarter was very sluggish. Second quarter, obviously Dexter had 2 interceptions. Second quarter offensively, we got hot. We scored right there at the end of the half on the back shoulder fade. 374 Wasp, Kenny McCardell over Charles Woodson, and it went up 20-3. And then it came out the first possession, third quarter, had an 89-yard drive, went up 27-3, we're up 34-3. Like, we are rolling. Like, game's over. Like, and then all of a sudden, Rich Gannon throws a touchdown pass to Jerry Porter, but they went for 2 and missed it. Then they throw a touchdown pass to Jerry Rice, and then they go for 2 and miss it. Then they block a punt, and then the game got 34-21 with 7 minutes to go. We were in a ball game, and then we finished it out. Derek Brooks and Dwight Smith had a couple interceptions right there at the end, and the game was out. But it's just when the game begins, it's like it's the excitement is there. Like, it just you have butterflies in your stomach, but then it kind of goes, and then you actually just play like the regular game. You get in the rhythm of the game, and it kind of takes this course, and then all of a sudden, when that game's over, now confetti's going to fall.
Yeah,
and the band is going to play for one team, and it's not for the other. And it's an incredible feeling. And I always talk about it, just being able to hold my son Max in my arms. And Nikki was 7 months pregnant with our son Jake, and standing there with Coach Gruden and saying we're going to Disney with confetti falling in your face. It's a dream come true. And everything you get to celebrate, all the people that impacted your life, and from teachers and coaches to parents to friends and all the above, and everybody's a part of it. And then the Mahomes, who's going doing Disney today, they'll do some TV shows, and then they'll have a parade back in we had the parade in Tampa, which was just incredible at that time, and people celebrating. It's just a culmination. It brings a city together, and that's what we did in Tampa to be the first ones to do it. And obviously with Brady and the bunch, they got to celebrate on the boats and all that. It brings everybody together, and it's fun to be a part of. It's hard to get there. It's fun to be a part of.
And I guess the other part of it, is, as you sit here today, is the great the memories and the immortality. Like, it never stops. Once you win one, you're forever one of those guys on the helmet, right? The one of how many guys? 34 quarterbacks that have won the Super Bowl. Yeah. You're one of 34. You're one. You're the first to do it as a Buccaneer, and all of your teammates. You were listing them the other day on social media. You guys talk all the time. Every year about this time, because it never ends. It's a living, breathing thing, right?
It is. We are together. I mean, I was FaceTiming with Sapp, Joe Giovicius, I FaceTime with Sap yesterday. Joe Vicious was in town yesterday. 2 days ago, we had lunch together. He just came by to see me, and he's going on some hunting trip. And then but those friendships of, we all get together once or twice a year at different golf tournaments and those kind of things. But there's a bond that will always be together. And regardless of where we went on in our lives, and obviously things change and families and where we go and whatever our businesses take place. But we can always celebrate we were champions. You can never take that away from us or the city or the Buccaneer organization. But everybody wants more, but everybody doesn't get to taste that victory like that. Yeah. And it's different. It is different. And so thank goodness for the Bucs have done it twice, and the city and everybody, everything that took place. But all those players, it takes great players, great people in the organization, great coaches that come on. We've talked about Mike Tomlins and Raheem Morris and Rich Bisaccia and all the guys that became head coaches from that tree of coaches that we had. And then all the players that made Hall of Fame and all the above. It's pretty neat to say you were Super Bowl champions.
Nick, you got any other questions?
Yeah, I was going to ask, because you briefly mentioned your sons, Max and Jake, and I wanted to ask you, they obviously transferring both of them to North Carolina. So what was the big reason why you think they chose to go to the Tar Heels and play for Mac Brown?
Yeah, it's an awesome opportunity. Max, he graduated, so he could use his grad transfer. And then Jake, it was his chance, like, where can I go play? North Carolina, they were, I think, one of the top 2 teams in the country last year as far as using tight ends, as far as catches. He wanted to be in a situation where he could be used a little bit more. And it's a great situation for Max going in there and replacing Drake May and just playing for Chip Lindsey, who'd been there. And then the cool part about it for us also is Clyde Christensen. He's the QB analyst. He coached me at he's my coordinator down there at Tampa. Then
I didn't know that.
I mean, he's coached them all. He's had them. He's coached every quarterback you can imagine. I've always told Max, I said, you will never impress Clyde Christensen. He's seen greatness. So, but it's a great fit for both of them, personality wise, with the coaches, and just a great fit to be where they are together again.
And not too far down the road from your house too. That doesn't suck, right?
Yeah, it's 5 hours compared to 14 hours out there at A&M. So.
Is it 5 hours that far? Oh my God!
It's 5 hours. We're in Athens. So it's 5 hours. It's not bad though.
Oh, you're not. That's right. You're not in Black Mountain. It's close enough.
Yeah.
Close enough. Well, listen, Brad, awesome to catch up with you as always. Really appreciate your time. And it's always fun to relive that day in San Diego, man. I really appreciate you coming out and doing an interview with us on Channel 8. That was fantastic. I'll never forget that. And just, you guys will never be forgotten. We just need you guys to get a boat parade. Like on one of these anniversaries, we should give you guys a boat parade. That would be the most fun to have the 2002 and the 2020 teams. The both of you get a boat parade. We need to put that together.
It would be fun. Let's go. Let's do it.
You and Brady can throw the Lombardi back and forth. Yeah.
Yeah, man. After the Super Bowl, real quick. After the Super Bowl, I was out there we were doing so many interviews and stuff after it was over, and then when we came out. And my wife Nikki and I, we came out of the locker room. The buses were leaving, so when they left, it was just me, Nikki, and my market agent was Brian Lammy. We're like, how are we getting back to the hotel? But then we saw some people, and we just kind of hitchhiked a ride. Like, hey, can y'all get us a ride back to the hotel? And then they gave us a ride back. We stopped at Circle K and got some refreshment drinks, and got back to the hotel. So everybody has different ways to get home, and boat parades and convertibles and all that stuff.
I don't think Mahomes had to hitch a ride yesterday. Right? I don't think Pat Mahomes had his thumb out. You had to hitch a ride and stop. I can see it too. It's like, hey, can you stop at the Circle K? I got to get a sixer. Only Brad Johnson. That's outstanding. And with a pregnant wife, stop at the Circle K. I got to get a 12-pack here. Awesome. Oh, hilarious.
Very good.
All right, Brad. Thanks, man. Appreciate it as always. Oh, by the way, watch Big Bad Brad on Twitter. What's your Twitter handle?
Yeah, Instagram and Twitter is Brad_Johnson_14, and TikTok's Big Bad Brad 14. But I put all that stuff, and you'll have some fun with watching all the trick shots and all that kind of stuff.
I know we got all the people in the comments saying, you got to see Brad do the footballs and basketball stuff. I'm like, we've seen it. It's awesome. Go check it out, everybody. It is like the best trick shot show you'll ever see. And he's doing 20 reps at 225. He's amazing. You're amazing. All right, Brad. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, JP. See you, buddy.
Thanks.
Thank you, man. Bye-bye.
The great Brad Johnson right there. Yeah, go. I retweeted that yesterday. 55 years old. Like, I think there's offensive linemen on the Bucs that can't do 20 reps at 225. That's insane.
I know. I think some of our interior O linemen, need to get into the Brad Johnson weightlifting school.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
I think that's fair, Rob Hainsey. Let's bulk it up a little bit, buddy. Let's get a little weight in that ass too, Cody Malk. Let's go. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back on the other side and do some more on the Super Bowl. We haven't even talked about the ads or the halftime show, or have we even mentioned Taylor Swift? Not even once. We went the whole first hour. Well, applause to us. Well done. All right, we are brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Get that immune system boosted by getting the right supplements and getting a doctor who will actually listen to you and find out what's going on with you instead of spending just 15 minutes with you. Spend an hour looking at your blood work. That's what Chris Lugo does at Bay Area Modern Medical Center for great nutrition, for great immune system boosting, for testosterone. If you think you got low testosterone, which most of you probably do, get your blood work done and head on over to Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Get your appointment right there. You can make your appointment on the website and get your blood work done, all that good stuff, and find out what's happening with you. Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Back in 3. Stay with us.
JP here for the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves. Call for a free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. We're local, we're trusted. The law firm brings over 80 years of combined legal experience focusing on clients in Tampa Bay, the state of Florida, and national class action cases. If you're injured, get that free case evaluation, no cost to you. The Jeeves Law Group's focus is on auto, truck, and motorcycle accidents, as well as class action and consumer protection law. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. You hear him on the show all the time. Great guy, big Gator fan, and great for the community. The Jeeves Law Group is a highly skilled team with years of experience that will apply their skills, expertise, and knowledge to assist individuals who have been in an accident with compensation for damages, lost wages, medical expenses, pain and suffering, and property damage. Get that free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement costs, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799. Start the new year with a new diamond from the Gold and Diamond Source. It's still engagement season. Where better to get that special ring than the Gold and Diamond Source? Of course, I just got mine there. I'm engaged. You should do the same thing. Let's go. Gold and Diamond Source has the largest selection of engagement rings in the country. A literal jewelry superstore with 30 times the inventory of any normal jeweler. And if you have a loved one or a special person in your life who has a birthday this month, maybe you have an anniversary coming up, you can get 15% off the January birthstone, which is garnet, as in garnet and gold for all your Seminoles. Celebrate that mythical national championship. And it's the Gold and Diamond Source's 40th anniversary. For the past 40 years, they have taken pride in offering only natural diamonds formed over billions of years from the Earth's incredible forces. And gold prices are at an all-time high. Now's your chance to turn your jewelry box into a cash machine. it's the perfect time to trade in your broken or unworn pieces for something new and stunning. It's the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
Let's go. Right now. Back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here. As we delve into the second hour post Super Bowl, you guys want to jump in here with your comments, you can always do it on our YouTube channel if you're watching there. You can do it on Facebook as well, on Twitter at FanStreamJP or the JP Peterson Show, and we will get as many comments up here as we possibly can. We are brought to you by the great folks at Italiano Insurance. In our second hour, get that insurance checkup, folks. Let them do all the work, whether it's your homeowner's insurance, your auto insurance, your life insurance, disability insurance, whatever insurance you have. Call them up, tell them what you have, how much you're paying, what your coverages are. They will do all the work and hopefully save you money. But, I don't know about you, but I don't care what company I'm with as long as they're a trusted company. And, of course, Italiano doesn't deal with any of these fly-by-night companies. They're a trusted company, and they can save me money. I'm all in. I just don't have time to do all the 1-800 calling. You don't have to do that. Just call 813-877-7799, and a human being will answer the phone and help you out. That's Italiano Insurance. We love them over there. All right. So by law, Nick Geddes, we have to talk about Taylor, which you said you did do a couple of articles. And I've answered, this is the overarching question. Is it intrusive upon your NFL, the Taylor Swift deal? Like so many guys, people want to say they hate it, blah, 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 blah. I hate it. I don't hate it. I think it's, it kind of adds to the entertainment value, to be quite honest. And of course I am a Taylor Swift fan. I don't like the constant, it's the media, the way they handle it, that is bothersome to me. The constant, repetition. I don't think CBS, frankly, I think they showed her twice in the first half, if that.
Yeah, it's not intrusive to my NFL football watching. Like I think,
not in the games. No,
we make jokes about it and everything because I guess it's the easy thing to do. But if you think for 1 second that I'm really sitting there in my seat and going, "Damn, I can't believe you're showing that Taylor Swift again," like, listen,
I wanted to see more.
I mean, come on, it's no different than every other sporting event you go to. Yeah. It's like you go to a Lakers game, and who do they show? I mean, Jack Nicholson's down there, and every who's who. I mean, even last night, like Taylor Swift wasn't the only celebrity they showed. LeBron James is in the house. Luke Combs is in the house. Justin Bieber, everybody, a who's who. If you were in entertainment, you were there last night. So who cares? Like they are. I think Stephen A. Smith actually had a really good take on this on Radio Row, and he was just like, what's y'all's problem? Like you all ain't getting none. Like that's what he said. He's like, they are an item, and he's like, if I was Travis Kelce, I would tell you all to go kiss my ass. Like, and I'm just like, yeah, that sounds like a pretty reasonable take about the whole thing. But the media, yes, it becomes a big story when people start saying, oh, she's a distraction and all this stuff. And they say that with a straight face. I'm like, can we please that's when it goes too far. Like and these people, you can date whoever you want. Exactly. Who cares? Like
I'm way more tired of Travis Kelce than I am Taylor Swift, by the way. Like way more tired. I'm way more tired of Mahomes and Kelce than I am of Taylor Swift.
It sounds like the Chiefs winning is starting. This is what happened with Brady and Belichick when they kept winning just a little too much to everybody. You start to hate them eventually.
Yankee-esque. It's like, and listen, you tip your cap to them. Like I totally appreciate what Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are doing. If you're a football fan, how could you not? Even when Brady and Belichick, I loved watching the way they dismantled teams. As much as I hated them, as them winning everything, I could appreciate how freaking good they were. How great Brady was at the end of games. My God, he never made a mistake.
I'll say this: growing up for me was realizing how amazing Brady and Belichick were, because I was definitely one of those people that was like the hater train.
Yeah.
And I think it was that 2018 or 2017 AFC Championship game against Jacksonville. I think there was a controversial play that involved a fumble where Miles Jack picked it up. And to this day, I swear the guy wasn't touched.
Yeah.
And I thought the Jaguars are going to win that football game, and it didn't happen. And that was my moment where it flipped for me, where I was like, no, I'm done with this team. They get every break. I'm over it.
Yeah.
But then, Brady comes to Tampa Bay, and I think that's why I think us in Tampa Bay might have a different perspective. We got to see it.
Yeah.
And live it.
Yeah.
And I think you come away with a new perspective of appreciating greatness, because I used to be Mr. Aaron Rodgers is way better than Tom Brady. And it's not Aaron Rodgers' fault they're not winning games. It's the Packers. And I used to go through all these mental gymnastics to prove to everybody that would listen that Aaron Rodgers was the greatest thrower of the football I have ever seen in my life.
Yes.
Okay. But then Brady came to Tampa Bay. I got to see it up close. And I said, you know what? To hell with all that take. Brady's number one of all time. Mahomes is certainly in that area now. So I think that's where it comes from.
You play to win the game. And when you watch Mahomes do it, and then you go back and watch, and with Brady, it's like they never made a mistake in clock management, like ever. They always called timeout when you were supposed to call timeout. They always got up and ran a play. It was like such perfect, detailed execution. And then when you watch the Bucs and Todd Bowles and the team in general try to do the same things without Tom Brady, you're like, wow, man, you guys are so inefficient and so dumb at times. And it's like, it's not that easy. Just Brady makes it look easy. Pat Mahomes makes it look easy.
Yeah,
Andy Reid makes it look easy.
Right.
It's not that there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot going on. We expect them to be perfect with this stuff, but it's not easy.
Yeah, it's why you made a great point, and Brad said the same thing about Mahomes there on those last few drives. Yeah. None of it was like out of this world where I'm like, holy hell, that's one of the best throws I've ever seen.
None of it. And he's done that at times. It's
just, everybody talks about the whole backyard football thing. But they forget that Patrick Mahomes, and I've learned enough by listening to people who have played this game and are way smarter than I am, that the most important thing from a quarterback standpoint is, do you play in structure?
Yeah.
How do you do playing in structure? And Patrick Mahomes, it's like we think that all he does is backyard football, and that's the stuff that gets the highlight films. Listen, you don't get to where Patrick Mahomes is by just playing backyard football. That stuff is great, but when it comes down to when you really need to just like play smart, that's what he did. Yep. And that's why he's got 3 Super Bowl trophies.
Yeah, and it looks like backyard football, but it's just buying time as the play develops. Like he knows where everybody is, and if he buys a little bit more time.
And if that's his skill set, why would they just going to be like, no, Patrick, you're good at that, but you know what? You're just going to sit there and stay in the pocket. And he could do that if you want him to, but guess what? His biggest strength, the biggest play was that scramble that he had for like 20 yards where nobody touched him. Like use that.
Yeah, and getting back to the whole Taylor Swift thing, it's not necessarily the same thing with Brady. We said this about Brady all the time. It's like he gets way too much attention. Well, that's not his fault. Tom Brady was never out there waving a flag around saying, "Come talk to me," like ever. It's the media that every time they do an interview, they have to ask Mike Evans about how great Tom Brady is, and it's the media's fault half the time that so much of this stuff gets screwed up. And it's the media's obsession outside of actually the games about Taylor Swift that makes people crazy at times. And people say, well, Taylor is only there she was never a football fan before. So now she's just there because of her relationship with Travis Kelce. Who cares? Who cares? The fact is she's there. She's bringing more eyeballs to the NFL. And if I can say this, I think she did a damn good job staying out of the limelight. She wasn't up there on the podium. With
I lean on my wife for all this stuff, and that's what my wife tells me. She goes, yeah, she doesn't really like all this spotlight stuff, and that's not like her and everything. And so I guess she again, I don't follow her whereabouts like some people do and things like that. But it sounds like the way, and even little things like last night when she comes onto the field, I think she was standing there next to Donna Kelce, and what does she do? She takes like 2 steps back. And lets Travis hug his mom first before she even comes into the picture. Yeah. Right? Yeah. She did. Everybody was like, oh, she's going to get up on stage and she's going to hold the Lombardi and say, I won a Super Bowl. Like, cut it out. No. Cut it out. And the NFL, by the way, would be stupid not to lean into it.
Of course not.
Maybe it got a little goofy at times when she was the header on their Twitter profile. Like, there were some things that I was like, okay, enough. But the NFL would be stupid not to lean into it because she is good for business. The NFL is running a business, and business is about making money. And if you haven't read the report, she's generated like $330 million or something like that
in brand awareness.
The NFL's bottom line.
Yeah. It's not necessarily bottom line, but it's brand awareness.
Brand awareness. There you go.
More female eyes coming to the NFL, looking at their advertisers.
I just told you, my wife wouldn't watch a Bucs game if her life depended on it.
Yeah.
She watched the entire Super Bowl last night.
Holy hell. That's crazy. Yeah, Ashley did fall asleep late, but she gave it a good try. So, but and as soon as like she can't stand Travis Kelce, no problem with Taylor Swift. She just can't stand Kelce, and it's like, and they are everywhere. Like you get sick of him and Mahomes and the like State Farm. Like, can we give it a break? I mean, can we just a little bit? I know they're not because now they're Super Bowl champions again. But can we just? I don't know. Can we give it a break? Can we? No. I guess not. All right, let's get to some of the comments here. Buck's Basement, good morning to you. Mahomes said it best. Brady beat him when it mattered most. That's all. Also, Mahomes, while great, mobility is the first thing to go as you age as a quarterback, so I don't see him catching Brady. Well, he's got, 4 to go?
He's got 4 to go, but I guess the argument is, does he need to win 7 to surpass Brady is, I guess, the argument. Because some people will tell you, because like LeBron's not going to get to Jordan when it comes to NBA rings, but a lot of people will tell you that that's their greatest player of all time because everybody has their own definition for who's the greatest player.
Right. Well, right now, it's still Brady. It's still Brady because of the longevity, and that matters. Longevity's not. He wasn't just playing; he was winning championships.
Right, and he should have won an MVP as a 44-year-old.
Right. So, I mean, that. As much as Mahomes, I think will surpass him, and I do think he will surpass him if he stays healthy.
Yeah.
Then, we'll have that discussion when it's time.
I got no problem with that take. That's kind of my take. Like, but can we just let it play out? Like, let's live in the moment a little bit and appreciate the greatness. We can have those discussions in 15 years. I don't need it now.
James says Shanahan proved again in crunch time he's not up for the challenge. I agree. Great coach. But no, a lot of people talking about the different penalties. There were a lot. There were a lot that could have been called on both sides. The game-winning touchdown, there's a legal man downfield. No question. There's 2 illegal men downfield. No question about that. Bosa was tackled probably at least 10 times that I saw and was not called in terms of holding. That's
a typical NFL game right there.
Yeah. Mike Holcomb says the part of the game the most average fans don't talk about cost San Francisco the game, special teams. 100% right. 100% right. But the special teams were more like the fumble. It's hard to lay blame on that. That's just a bad break. Maybe Ray has to come up with that, but that's just a bad break. The low kick, that's a thing. That was a thing. That was a huge mistake. But I kind of think he made up for it with the
55-yard field goal. Which I was surprised at that time. That was the longest field goal in Super Bowl history.
Yeah.
And then Butker, like a quarter later, ends up topping it, which Butker, by the way, 57. And that was like a bad ball. Yeah. It was just a line drive.
Yeah, that could have been easily blocked. Could have been easily blocked. They were lucky. Again, 2 or 3 plays go the other way. We got a whole different narrative today. But you always just think like Patrick Mahomes would have found a way to win. Like he just would have found a way to win because that's what he does, right?
Yeah, rule of thumb. Just don't bet against the guy.
Regarding the decision in overtime by Shanahan, TJC says, I get the decision. Your team just got off a 2-minute drive. They're gassed over 20,000 simulations, 51.3% of the time. The team who took it first won, but you have Patrick 4 downs. Again, the analytics don't take into consideration that the other quarterback is Patrick Mahomes. Because analytics just compiles all the different numbers of all the different situations and then spits out an answer. So that includes all the mediocre quarterbacks, includes all the mediocre defenses, all the mediocre offenses. This is a different situation. It doesn't take into account, is your defense gassed? Is it not gassed? Is it a lot of the different things that a head coach should be thinking about? But first and foremost, it's overtime. Both teams get the ball. You take it second. This is a huge advantage. It's a huge advantage. It's not a small advantage. It's a tremendous. It's 25% more chance to get a first down. You got 4 downs.
Yeah.
This is not a small thing. This is a humongous thing. And if you win the freaking toss, you just can't give away that advantage.
And when Shanahan said, the thing about, I was trying to play for the third possession, who gets it last. is that him conceding that, okay, I know that when they get the ball, Mahomes is going to do something crazy and go down the field and score? Like, was that him basically conceding that? Which, fair, I guess. I think did he not have any confidence that his defense would be able to make a stop? I don't know how many defenses would, to be honest with you, but I guess it goes both ways. But it seemed like unanimously that decision was seen as the wrong one. But again, when it doesn't work, it's always the wrong one.
But again, if you're going to do that, you got to go for it on 4th and 4. You got to try and score a touchdown. If you're going to take the ball first. And by the way, how many times have teams gone down the field, your team especially, and scored on the Chiefs defense a touchdown? Not very often in these playoffs. Your team had how many possessions? How many touchdowns did you score? 2?
It took a trick play to get one of them.
Yeah. So, what thought process goes into the fact, oh yeah, we're going to drive the field and score a touch. We're likely going to drive the field and score a touchdown here. That's not smart. You're the coach. You don't make tackles. You don't throw passes. You cannot F up these things. These are basic things that are thought of way ahead of time. And if you're just going with the analytics answer just to say, oh, that's what the numbers tell me and shift blame, then you're a moron and you're not a winning coach. And that's just why Shanahan is now 0-4 against Andy Reid and has blown 4 leads. Double digit.
He's not even the best coach in his division. Sean McVay has that on lock as well.
Yeah. And I feel for John Lynch because I think he's built one hell of a roster there. He's built one hell of a roster, certainly a roster good enough to win a Super Bowl. And they keep chasing the quarterback thing like that's been the problem. Maybe it's the head coach. And look, he's a great play caller. He's a fantastic play caller. But clearly when the pressure is on, he either pulls back or does something different because his offenses in the fourth quarter, when he's leading in the second half, those numbers are dreadful. They're dreadful.
You go to 28-3 for as much as Brady and the Patriots were a reason why that happened. Kyle Shanahan's right at the top of that list too.
Yeah,
for why that one got away. He just stopped being aggressive. He went into autopilot up 28-3, and that lives with his reputation right now.
Yeah. Well, one of those plays, he's got Matt Ryan dropping back, 7 yards and getting a sack fumble. That's, that ball's got to get out. Part of that's on Matt Ryan, but it's also on the play caller. Why are you doing that at that particular time of the game? But we could, you could go over and look at this game, and those two decisions to me were, in overtime were huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah, right now he's to a lesser extent, he's Marv Levy. That's where Kyle Shanahan sits right now.
Yeah. Agreed. James says the Niners did nothing when Mahomes threw his only pick. They went 3 and out. That was huge. But first possession in overtime, 7-yard line, running up the middle on second down, choke play calls in crunch time. Yeah, that was a killer. You're second and 4. 2nd and 4, right? And
KC was expecting it. They ate that up right away.
Yeah, that was. But McCaffrey, and I'll tell you something else about that. McCaffrey was gassed at that point. He was gassed.
No, other than the play that he came out, and I think Elijah Mitchell had the first down run that got negated because of a holding penalty.
Huge
he came
call,
out of the game. Yeah, that was a huge, and that was a big play that happened. By the way, George Kittle, if you recall, went to the locker room momentarily, and so that backup tight end, I think it was Willis, had to come in for that play.
Yep,
and he got called for holding and negated a first down.
That was a huge call. So yeah, I don't think there was a hole there, but McCaffrey was a little bit gassed at that moment too. So why are you calling that play?
He took some hits, man, in that game. They showed his arm at one point. I saw the back of it. My dude looked like he was in like a UFC fight, two of them.
He played one hell of a game. He was getting a couple times. I'm like, dude ain't getting up from that. He ain't getting.
Yeah, there was once where his leg got underneath him, and I'm like, holy hell, how's he not seriously injured? Yeah. You could tell he screamed through his face mask and everything, but he popped right up, and I think he ran on the next play. He's a beast. He is an absolute beast.
And Deebo Samuel had 11 targets, 3 catches.
He was there was one play where he ran one of those routes over the middle. McDuffie ran the route for him. Yeah. I'm telling you, McDuffie is a baller, man. A baller.
That just goes to show you, those two corners, that's a huge reason why the Chiefs are what they are. They can do so many. Spagnuolo can do so many things in the pressure game because he can put those two guys out on an island and just erase those guys.
And when Purdy got pressure, by the way,
receivers.
And when Purdy had pressure in his face, it wasn't coming from the outside. It was coming right up the middle. And every quarterback hates that. Every single quarterback.
Yep. James says Mahomes had 66 yards rushing. Purdy should have run more, and that's on Shanahan. Also agree Chris Jones was awesome. The win also proves how great Bucks D was in Super Bowl when they had held Mahomes to 3 field goals. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
There's the key to beating the Kansas City Chiefs. You just got to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, apparently.
That's right. Evidently. Yeah. And Todd Bowles' pressure packages in that game, Shaq Barrett, JPP, they were all over Mahomes all game long. They beat him up, and that is the key. Meets McGee, good to see you, my friends. I see why Sapp would fight anyone who say anything negative about Brad Johnson. That's right. I guess when Cam Newton was taking shots at Purdy, he took a shot at Brad Johnson too.
Yeah, and Cam Newton needs to quiet.
Don't do that.
Cam Newton had an MVP. He got to a Super Bowl, but Cam Newton, take out that Super Bowl winning MVP year, Cam Newton was just there. Is that a hot take?
And I went back and looked at the fumble in the Super Bowl. Go back and look at that. That is the biggest wussy play in Super Bowl history. They were up what? They were up 10 points at the time? I think Carolina was, or maybe 7 points.
I don't know. Did they even have a lead in that game?
I think they did. Or it was still a close football game.
Yeah.
And Von Miller knocks the ball out, and it's sitting right there in front of, and it's huge, big pocket, right?
Right.
Cam was moving up into the pocket, and he reaches around, knocks it away, and it's sitting right there. All he's got to do is fall on it, and he backs away from it because he said he didn't want to put his arm in there and get hurt. After you do that in the Super Bowl, you really just you can't you lose. You can't talk. Sorry, Cam. Lonnie says, I did a Chiefs parade bus broke down on the side of the highway this morning since they get them from Chicago, or a tire was stolen. they get the buses from Chicago because they don't need them in Chicago. Apparently. They're always available for parades. Taylor was shown acknowledging the tribal chief. The tribal chief?
Yes, she was acknowledging her tribal chief, JP.
Like, what does that even mean?
That's Roman Reigns. He's the tribal chief, and he does the thing where he says, acknowledge me, and everybody in the crowd lifts the one up in the air. And there's Taylor Swift in the press box, and she was holding the one in the air. And, of course, wrestling Twitter, of course, was like, she's acknowledging her tribal chief.
Okay. Good to know. What is Lonnie Wilkin? Can you decode this for me in wrestling language?
You see the bonehead reporter that asked The Rock about fans chanting Maui, Maui, and booing Rock in Vegas, thinking that's why. Then Rock was like, they were chanting Cody and I'm a heel. Yeah, it was some idiot, like, reporter or something that was trying to say that, yeah, because of The Rock or something in his movies or something he said long ago that might have been political. I forgot what it was. And they're like, see, now they're booing The Rock. And The Rock was like, bro, we're wrestling. I'm a bad guy.
Yeah.
They're booing me because I'm a bad guy.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that deep, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what Lonnie's referring to. Because The Rock went off on this guy.
Yeah, well, he should. Yeah, a lot of people looking like idiots in that particular vein. Nathan Elliott says Shanahan called a great long drive. They ate up a ton of clock. That was awesome. It was the defense that let the Chiefs go down the field. Yes, but they had 4 downs to do it. The defense actually forced the 4th down, and if Shanahan takes the kick, if he kicks the ball to the Chiefs and they get to 4th down at their own 30, they're punting the ball instead of going for it on 4th and 1 when they make it. That's the huge difference. It's such a bonehead call. I think the more we talk about this, the more it goes down in history. People are going to keep coming back to it. That was, as a coach, you're trying to do everything you can to put your players in the best position to win. What you can't do is make a huge strategic error like that. That's a gift to the other team. You didn't use your timeouts at the end of the first half. You could have got the ball back with 50 seconds left and a chance to go down and get a field goal in a 1-score game. right? You didn't do that. You took the timeouts to halftime. Huge mistake. Huge strategic mistake. Taking the ball in overtime. Huge strategic mistake. Not going for it on fourth down to score the touchdown. Huge strategic
he played
mistake.
a little bit. He coached a little bit not to lose in the biggest game of the season.
Which you cannot do against Pat Mahomes. You got to go down firing.
You got to take it.
You got to go down firing. Lonnie Wilkins, I thought the flag on the Chiefs in OT was going to be a torpedo to them. Which one was that?
I guess I missed that. If Lonnie, if you want to chime in and tell me which one that was.
On the last drive in OT, did they have a flag?
I don't recall. I might have been so in the moment that I missed it. So, Lonnie, if you're still here, chime in and tell me which one that was.
All right. Well, we'll do this when we come back. We haven't talked about the halftime show. I definitely want to do that. All right, got a couple more comments here. You guys have any comments? Jump aboard. You can do it on Facebook, or you can do it on our YouTube channel, The JP Peterson Show, FanStream Sports. You can do it there, and also at FanStreamJP on Twitter. We will hit up all your comments. Another quick break. Come back on the other side and get to your comments and a couple more thoughts on the Super Bowl. I want to talk some Rays as well and some Bolts over the weekend. A couple of tough games in New York last week, but they salvaged one in Columbus. So we'll do that when we come back. Stay with us.
JP here for the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves. Call for a free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. We're local, we're trusted. The law firm brings over 80 years of combined legal experience focusing on clients in Tampa Bay, the state of Florida, and national class action cases. If you're injured, get that free case evaluation, no cost to you. The Jeeves Law Group's focus is on auto, truck, and motorcycle accidents, as well as class action and consumer protection law. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. You hear him on the show all the time. Great guy, big Gator fan, and great for the community. The Jeeves Law Group is a highly skilled team with years of experience that will apply their skills, expertise, and knowledge to assist individuals who have been in an accident with compensation for damages, lost wages, medical expenses, pain and suffering, and property damage. Get that free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES.
JP here for the Geddes Gordon Real Estate Group and our good friend Jane Geddes. Folks, simply put, there is nobody like Jane. Jane is a former LPGA two-time major championship winner. She was also vice president of talent relations at WWE. She also has a law degree from Stetson. So if Jane can drain a 10-footer to win the U.S. Open and stare down Hulk Hogan in the boardroom, you want Jane on your real estate team to not only negotiate the best deal, but find you the perfect home or investment property. And when you work with the Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of the real estate family and get concierge services that include expertly staging, marketing, and preparing your home for sale. Advice on golf properties. Hey, you might even get some golf tips. Many of their clients become friends long after the sale or purchase is completed. It's all part of the deal. So if you're looking for that perfect home or investment property or trying to get top dollar for your home, go with Jane Geddes and the Geddes Gordon Group, because there's nobody like Jane. Call 813-485-6808 or go to GeddesGordon.kw.com. That's GEDDES Gordon.kw.com. or call 813-485-6808. JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement costs, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here on Super Bowl Monday as the Chiefs get a historic 25-22 win. Was that the final?
Yeah, who had 20? Bill Cowher in the pregame predicted something like with 25 as the final score, and everybody was like, "Can you pick something that's actually going to happen?" Like 25 is such an odd score, and he got it right, 25.
Because no extra point in the after the winning touchdown there, which is, I guess that really didn't affect it because the 49ers were favored by 2. So again, a underdog wins the Super Bowl for, I think, what is it? It's been like 13 out of 15 or something now.
Who in their right mind is making the Chiefs an underdog in these games?
Yeah, and Mahomes mentioned that too. Like, we are never underdogs.
Yeah, everybody keeps talking about why, like, the Mahomes and Kelsey continue to say, like, all this stuff about, man, everybody was doubting us, and people were like, oh, nobody was doubting you. You kind of were. Like, all the sports shows spent the entire year telling you that the Chiefs were no longer good. And that, remember in December, the sky was falling after Christmas Day? And
I did not. Like, I for one will raise my hand. I had the Ravens winning the Super Bowl. I did not think, for what I saw from the Chiefs this year, that they were going to go on the road and win all those games. I didn't see it coming. And it's tip of the cap to Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, the whole team. And Spagnuolo, it was phenomenal. And that Chiefs defense will never get the due that it deserves, because they, as you said, we said right off the top, holding those offenses to an average of 16 points a game is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous.
And by the way, the comments, Lonnie chimed in here, and so did James. Now I recall the call. It was when San Francisco had the ball in overtime. There was a defensive holding, if you recall.
Oh, yes.
On that third down.
I was talking about when the Chiefs had the ball.
Yeah.
On that third down. Defensive holding, yes.
Defensive holding on, it might have been McDuffie, actually.
Yeah, it might have been McDuffie, yeah.
That was a huge call. And that aided them to continue their drive.
Yeah, that was a huge call. And but the Chiefs did not. There were a few times, and you've seen them all over Twitter, showing the Donovan Smith bear hugs, and there was a lot of that. One thing we did not mention was the Kelsey Reed dust up on the sideline with Andy Reid when Kelsey went after him. That was, and here's one of those things. If Kansas City loses, that's topic A today, is it not?
It's probably one of them, yeah.
Yeah, it's Kelsey lost his mind, and he did. Like, that was weird. That was really kind of bizarre, and it got a lot of notice. And then AJ Brown goes on there and says, "If that was me, I would have been kicked out of the league." I don't know if that would have happened.
I do think
I
the
understand
narrative
the sentiment.
I do think the narrative changes when it's certain players.
I agree.
I do, because in that moment, it's like, think about it. The star player is yelling at the head coach on the sideline, and then bumps into him and almost knocks him over, and has to be refrained by another player or restrained, whatever. Like, in the moment, it was like, whoa. And the broadcast, even Nance kind of just showed it and didn't really remark on it. They kind of just moved on very quickly. They went right past it.
They moved right on and never really came back to it.
No, it became very buried after that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm not saying Kelsey wasn't wrong in his thinking. Like, you're down there in the red zone, and he's like, "Why am I not on the field?" I mean,
and the reason that he was so pissed off is his replacement. I
think it was Noah Gray, right?
83, yeah. And Noah Gray was the guy that was supposed to block. He was supposed to be blocking the one that ripped the ball out of Pacheco's hands.
Yeah.
So that's why Kelsey was like, "Do not take me out of the game, even for running plays. I want to stay in there." And, but it was a little, he caught Andy a little bit off guard.
Yeah, I think Andy, the bump was because he came up on him so fast, and Andy was not even looking in his direction.
Right.
So Andy just got caught off guard, clearly.
Yeah. But I think there'd be a different narrative had they lost the game, because, Kansas City's offense was struggling. It was struggling mightily, especially in the first half. They almost got shut out. So I think that would have been a little bit more of a narrative. And yeah, I don't I think CBS, the NFL, I think they kind of buried that.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of CBS, the worst part of the entire thing was the last call of the game. Tony Romo, I thought he called a good game for majority of it. I really did, and he gets a lot of flack. His worst moment was in the biggest moment at the end. He just doesn't get it. I mean, did you recall the game-winning call by Jim Nantz? You probably don't, because Tony Romo immediately comes in and starts breaking down the play as if it was a touchdown in the second quarter. Yeah. It's the game-winning touchdown, and he's trying to give me the X and O's like immediately after. The moment did not breathe. The Chiefs are celebrating, confetti's falling, they're going nuts, and all I can hear is Tony Romo like blabbering for like 30 seconds, and I'm like, that's Jim Nantz's moment to set that scene, and for us as the viewer to get lost in that moment, and Tony Romo like took it away from us. I'm like, lay out, just lay out, shush.
Yeah, that's you deal with the celebration, the moment, you let it breathe, and then you come back with the replay, your time to shine. But no, Motormouth cannot do that. It was, and he had a great point. He had a great point. The call and how it was all set up. Yeah, it was all set up by other plays off of that. So yeah, it was great. Great. That was a great breakdown. But you got to let it breathe.
Yeah. Should we talk about the Super Bowl halftime show, JP?
I think
it's always one of my favorite topics on Super Bowl Sunday.
I think we should. Jeremy Lowe says, Usher brought back memories. As Ashley said to me, it was very visually pleasing. What? Because Usher took his shirt off? It was very
Did
visually...
you see the little disclaimer?
No, the roller skating. I'm like...
Did you see the little disclaimer that came up before, and it said something about might cause relationship issues? And me and Casey looked at each other and we're like, what is he talking about? And then I saw him just very slowly take the shirt off, and I'm like, okay, I got it.
Yeah.
I got it.
That's when Usher exists to cause relationship issues. I'll just put it that way. It worked.
The show itself, I mean, it's a show. You're not going to get this is not Queen at Wembley, folks. I mean, you're not getting that at the Super Bowl halftime show. It's a show. It's there for you to. It's all visual. From me, even though Usher kind of was coming up in his prime of his music career was like when I was in like middle school and elementary school, and like a lot of my friends have like memories of that. I was never the biggest Usher fan. That's more me. So I don't know any of his music. Like obviously I know DJ got us. He didn't even play that one. I know those ones, but a lot of them I don't know. So they all kind of sounded similar to me. Like I had no idea when we were going to the next song to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
That's just me. A lot of people were like, man, this was the perfect halftime show. It's like we do this every year. It's like every one that comes on the next year is the best one. I'm like, hold on. He wasn't even the best part of the act. And you could have given me 12 minutes of Alicia Keys.
Yeah.
She was the best part of the whole thing.
I would agree.
Alicia Keys is fantastic.
She looked fantastic, sounded fantastic. Usher was just kind of Usher. And I mean,
it's more
he's a great dancer.
I mean, that's it. It's a show.
The reason he got it, let's just be honest. It's like he when they named Vegas as the Super Bowl site, he had a residency in Vegas. In fact, was getting ready to end it. And he's like, no, I'm going to make Vegas mine and make sure that, that I get the Super Bowl halftime show. Like this was his old, stated goal. And, he's an, I don't know, is he an iconic entertainer? Is Usher considered an iconic entertainer? Is not like you would think Super Bowl is reserved for the icons, right? The student half.
I would say he is
icon.
I would say he is. I mean, if you poll everybody in around the world, you know who Usher is. I think more often than not, people are going to be like, "Yeah, I know who Usher is." Okay. Like, I think he is that caliber. I was just never the biggest fan because, again, I'm a country music guy who very seldom listens to other music.
He doesn't have he's got some big, and a couple of the other songs are well known. They're party anthems. They're, and he's been around a while. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But
icon status.
I would say, though, comparing his to others, I mean, I think for most people, and you probably feel the same way, Prince is the bar.
Yeah.
When it comes to Super Bowl halftime show.
Hell,
I think the Springsteen one in Tampa is underrated. Nobody talks about that one.
But once again, a music icon.
But I even think comparing
Taylor Swift icon.
Comparing it to the last two, I thought Rihanna was way better.
Rihanna's was
and
amazing.
I even thought, Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, Eminem in LA.
That
awesome.
was that was so perfect for the that was iconic. Those guys are iconic.
This show with Usher, Lil Jon, Ludacris, and I forget who, Alicia Keys. This should have been in the Atlanta Super Bowl, not freaking Maroon 5. Like, Atlanta finally got the halftime show they needed. Right. They gave us Maroon 5 when it's different when Usher's taking his shirt off, whereas Adam Levine's doing it. Let me just put it that way.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
Maroon 5.
I'll take your word for it. But that would have been, you're right. It would have fit much better there. But that's why I'm like, okay. I mean, Ludacris is going to be over here at SeaWorld next month. It's like, are we talking about icons here? And by the way, I'm going for sure. Yeah. Hey,
I will say
doing
this.
A free concert at SeaWorld. I don't, and Usher's not, but.
Yeah, I will say, anytime Lil Jon just says the word I'm in. Yeah. I'm just in. Lil Jon is awesome. I will say that.
I saw him at the LA Super Bowl up close and personal at a party.
There you go. Oh my goodness. James with this comment. He says, I'm clueless in music. I had zero idea who Post Malone was. Never heard of him. James, you might be living under a little bit of a rock. Just a little one.
Pick it up, James.
But
Come on
Post
out.
Malone, by the way, did you hear the steel guitar playing behind America the Beautiful? I picked up on it because I'm just like, how is it that Post Malone, rapper / pop artist, understands the traditional nature of country music better than anybody on country radio? He's got the steel guitar playing in the background. He's wearing the bolo tie. I loved it. And then, of course, Reba with the national anthem. Fantastic.
She did a great job.
Yeah.
Everybody lost their mind at the Black national anthem. That was 20 minutes before the Super Bowl. I mean, we can. I think we got
getting
time.
So upset about things, man.
I don't know. I understand. We should have one national anthem. Yes, I believe that. But I'm not going to lose my mind because we played the other one.
People just love to get outraged.
20 minutes before they kick.
People just love to get outraged for outrage's sake.
Yeah, that's quite true. Ronnie says Usher music is lazy wedding music. That's definitely not iconic. Definitely not iconic. Ludacris and Lil Jon still got. They look. I mean, the dancing was great. It was a great show. The costumes, the whole roller skate, and I didn't get the roller skating thing. Like,
I thought it was kind of cool. It added something new to it.
Okay,
that I'd never seen. It's hard to find something
Nathan's
new
on
in
the non-iconic Usher trip. He's a whoop-de-doo Usher. Yeah. Lonnie, yeah.
Let me just put it this. If you're older, it's not marketed towards you.
Yeah.
It's just not. And listen, the NFL gave you Prince, they gave you Paul McCartney, they gave you Tom Petty, they gave you The Who, they gave you Bruce Springsteen, they gave you your fix
we're
of
running
all
out
that.
of icons, yeah.
And people were starting to get bored of it, so they went to more updated music.
Yeah, which is fine. By the way, did you see John Cena in Tampa?
I
didn't go to the Savannah Bananas. What's that?
I did see it, yeah.
I mean, they sold out, another 3 nights there? Like 30,000 people this weekend going over to Steinbrenner Field and sell it like tight sellout. The Savannah Bananas draw more than the Rays do it in playoffs.
Okay. I didn't know that Savannah Bananas were that big of a deal. Like, didn't they have some kind of like pre-event the night before? I saw Rob Huggins posted something about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, John Cena's there and he went through the whole bit. That was cool.
Did we get any wrestling, I guess, for the weekend? So who's wrestling who? WrestleMania? What was the final tally?
Roman and Cody is official for WrestleMania main event. And it sounds like they might be.
Now what's The Rock doing?
Well, they might be setting up, it looks like, Roman and The Rock together in a tag team match against Cody Rhodes and this guy Seth Rollins, who was the other world champion. So it looks like we might get a tag match because it's 2 nights of WrestleMania. You might get that in the main event of night 1. And then you're going to get the Roman Cody at night 2. So everybody walks away happy.
All right, that's cool. All right, let's do one more break, and then we'll come back and hit on the Rays and the Bolts as we come to the end of football season. It's awful. It's absolutely awful. Absolutely awful. We're brought to you by the great folks at the Golden Diamond Source. Hey, guys, Valentine's Day is Wednesday. Have you screwed it up? Have you not found something? Well, this is easy. Just go to the Golden Diamond Source. They got the sales going on. They got incredible inventory there. It's if you're going to get engaged, better get over there now. 3 to 5 years, 0% financing. So go pick out something shiny. Let them do all the work. If you just don't know what to get her, and trust me, I know the feeling. Just say, hey, this is what I got to spend. Find me something nice for her. Earrings, bracelet, necklace, something nice. Or if you want one of those baller watch, go buy yourself something. Buy yourself a baller watch at the Golden Diamond Source. 3800 Ulmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. Back in the three. Stay with us. JP here for the Geddes Gordon Real Estate Group and our good friend Jane Geddes. Folks, simply put, there is nobody like Jane. Jane is a former LPGA two-time major championship winner. She was also vice president of talent relations at WWE. She also has a law degree from Stetson. So if Jane can drain a 10-footer to win the U.S. Open and stare down Hulk Hogan in the boardroom, you want Jane on your real estate team to not only negotiate the best deal, but find you the perfect home or investment property. And when you work with the Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of the real estate family and get concierge services that include expertly staging, marketing, and preparing your home for sale. Advice on golf properties. Hey, you might even get some golf tips. Many of their clients become friends long after the sale or purchase is completed. It's all part of the deal. So if you're looking for that perfect home or investment property or trying to get top dollar for your home, go with Jane Geddes and the Geddes Gordon Group because there's nobody like Jane. Call 813-485-6808 or go to geddesgordon.kw.com. That's GEDDES Gordon.kw.com or call 813-485-6808.
All right, this is for all you guys who don't want to go to the gym and do 5,000 crunches. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, you can get on the new True Body machine where you can reduce fat and tone up your muscle. It's like doing 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Define your body as you see fit. True Body offers personalized muscle stimulation that delivers the equivalent of those 54,000 crunches in just 15 minutes. Just get in touch with them at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo and the team over there will set you up on True Body and get amazing results. Non-invasive with comfortable and little to no pain and zero downtime. You can isolate and target those areas that you want to improve and treat multiple areas simultaneously. It's an amazing machine, so check it out at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com.
Is getting a home equity line a good idea right now with rates so high? Well, I put that question to my good friend Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services, and he says it all depends on where you're at financially. Many of us with ridiculous inflation have been charging up those credit cards, right? At 29% interest, hoping to catch up, but that ain't happening. Those interest payments are killing you. So yes, a consolidation loan and tapping into that crazy equity in your house is a great idea. That strategy can drop your monthly nut by thousands of dollars and stop wasting money on those interest payments. Fitz, the mortgage guy, has done thousands of loans for the past 25 years in Tampa Bay. Just did one for a former colleague who was a manager for a big bank mortgage division. He knows Scott is an independent broker and can get him a way better deal than at his own big bank. AMS Tampa has way lower overhead and gives you the savings. So if you're worried about fees and closing costs, have the free consultation with Scott and look at the actual numbers. It may shock you what he can do. Be smart. Stay one step ahead. Email Fitz at scott@amstampa.com, scott@amstampa, or call 813-294-7595. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386-722. American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashley Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show as we wrapping it up here on Super Bowl Monday. Going through my timeline here on Twitter and watching Taylor and Travis kissing the Love Story remix while she's wearing his jacket. What kind of reality are we living in? Oh, my God. They actually look like they're somewhat in love there. I don't know, though. I still think it's a sham. That's just me. Oh, by the way.
Captain Conspiracy over here.
How about his the outfit he wore? The sequined black suit that Kelsey wore on the way in. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
I preferred what Jason Kelsey wore.
the Zach Galifianakis hangover look. That was outstanding. That didn't get enough play.
I liked his look inside the suite too, with the Chiefs overalls. I mean, yeah. it's just perfect.
There was one picture of him standing next to his wife, like he's doing all his shenanigans, and his wife is just like rolling her eyes, like My
She's
God,
like,
what is wrong with
she's
it?
like, Jason is Jason.
Lonnie saying Usher's 3 years away from performing after a Rays game, summer concert series.
Come
Oh,
on. Jeez.
It's time for JP to hashtag raise up.
Yes,
Pitchers
sir.
and
Hashtag
catchers.
raise up that thing.
Yeah. I don't know. By the way, why is this such a mystery? We can't get the numbers on the Cash deal or the Neander deal? Like Mark Topkin can't even get the numbers?
Who knows any of the numbers on manager deals around the league?
We know what Craig Counsell's making.
Who cares? Why do you honestly care?
I want to know. I want to know how much.
Clearly, it was good enough to make both of them stay. You don't think that there's 28, 29 other teams in the league that would fall over themselves to have Kevin Cash and or Eric Neander?
They should be. They should be. No question about it. So why is it such a secret? Like Mark Topkin can't even find out. He knows everything. They tell him everything.
Who cares? They're here to stay.
Yeah, that is good. And the one thing we do know is that they will match what at least pay these guys to keep them around, unlike Joe Madden, which was a little bizarre.
Well, hey, I mean, we love Joe, but that decision.
What?
I said we love Joe, but I mean, the decision to go to Kevin Cash is one of the. I mean, whether it happened because they didn't want to pay him or whatever, the point is, it's a decision that ended up being a great one.
He won a World Series with the Cubs. Did we win a World Series?
No, but sometimes there's shelf lives on things. You know how that works.
Yeah, true. I mean, at least you got a 2-time AL Manager of the Year. You went to hire the cheapest guy you could find. That showed some upside. It was great.
Mm-hmm.
It worked out great. He has proven himself to be the best manager in baseball, in my opinion.
We'll see what happens this year with the Rays. As they're currently constructed, I'll just tell you my thoughts going into spring training real quick. This is very brief.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if 2024 is going to necessarily be their year to compete for a World Series. I think there's just too many injuries in the pitching department.
I would agree.
I would probably say 2025 is what you're looking at, and I think they're going to be well positioned in 2025, barring any more catastrophic injuries.
Yeah.
But 2024, I think again they're probably going to win somewhere between 90 and 95 games, get in the playoffs, and yeah.
Well, if they'd have kept Glass now, would they have a number one starter at the top of the? Yes, they would. Yes, they would.
I don't think he's a number one you can entirely depend on because he doesn't start enough games.
I know that's true. That's true. His history suggests that he wouldn't finish the season.
Right.
I get it, but we're not as good a team without him. That's a no-brainer. And what we got back for him, we'll see how that works out. But to me, this is just kind of season to sit and watch and see what happens when they come to the playoffs, deadline, if they add some bats. These guys, it's the same team that won 99 games last night in the field, but the pitching is much different.
Yeah, a little bit.
So we'll see if some of these guys step up. But they always find a way with the pitchers, right? They always find a way.
Yeah,
I think they'll be a very.
I don't worry about that much, And offensively, I mean, listen, Isak Paredes' best baseball is probably still ahead of him. Same thing with Josh Lowe, Junior Caminero. You can keep going down the list of guys whose best baseball is still ahead of him. And even the pitching department, what if Taj Bradley comes out in his sophomore year and he has like a Glasnow? He's definitely got the stuff. I mean, you might have another top-of-the-end rotation guy on your hands here.
And I have a sneaky suspicion Yamamoto. Is it Admiral Yamamoto? He's his numbers. I've never seen the guy pitch, but I know these Japanese guys are absolutely deadly pinpoint accurate. A lot of, if his numbers are that good in the Japanese league, Kyle Snyder, info and how they can get these guys into game plans. I think he's going to be a decent pitcher.
Just answering a comment because we said we would touch on the Bolts real quick. So we mentioned they got the win over Columbus, which they desperately needed after the debacle in New York, both nights. Jeremy Lowe did chime in. He asked us on Friday. We didn't get to it. So he said, any moves for the Lightning before the deadline? They have a lot more money to play with now.
That's right.
Because of Sergachev. Everybody's saying defense.
$8.6 million.
Right. Everybody's saying defense. I think they do that as well, but I actually think they could use another scorer. And I'll give you a name real quick. I actually have a name.
Oh, you do?
Vlad Tarasenko in Ottawa. They're going nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
He's on a 1-year deal. He's a free agent at the end of the year, and it was only a 1-year, $5 million deal, so he's not going to cost much. He's having a okay to, good year on a bad Ottawa team. He's Russian. We got a lot of Russians.
True.
Seems like a good fit for me. Seems like a good fit. I think he's going to be moved. He just changed representation as well, his agent. He got a new agent again.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't mind some Vlad Tarasenko action. Get another score. I think they could use something else there.
Yeah, they need some more scoring in the lower lines for sure, secondary scoring. But they got to obviously shore up. Because Sergachev was on the penalty kill, on the power play. I mean, he does everything for you. So I think they got to find it, and a guy that brings some fire too. Now they have an opportunity. You hate to see him go down like that. It sucks, and he'll be back, and we're counting on him for many years to come. But in this situation, obviously he was not having a great year. He had been oft injured. This gives us the Bolts an opportunity to get a little lightning strike in terms of some life into the dressing room, and somebody on the blue line that can stand up and maybe bring a little fire to this team. So I'm not, I think it's certainly not a season killer, is what I'm saying. It does.
They were hitting their stride. They were hitting their stride when he wasn't on the ice too.
Exactly.
Not diminishing his impact or the injury.
No, not at all.
It's awful, but
not at all. But just keeping it real. And let's see. I don't think Julian Breezeball is going to be sitting on his hands. Let's just put it that way.
He will not.
Things are going to happen. No question about that. All right. Our thanks to the Bull, Brad Johnson, for joining us here and breaking down the Super Bowl winning quarterback, breaking down the Super Bowl quarterbacks. That was really, really fun. Some great stories about how he had to hitchhike home after winning the Super Bowl and go to Circle K. Fantastic. I absolutely love that. So if you missed that, go check it out on our podcast, and please like and subscribe to our podcast on Apple, on Spotify, anywhere you get your podcast, and also like and subscribe on our YouTube channel as well. Great job, Nick. We will see and chat with you guys tomorrow as the Lightning are in Boston for a showdown. We'll be talking some hockey tomorrow. See you then.